Hey, welcome everybody to the first D.M.C. Deep and Meaningful Chat with myself, Adam Rigby, and the undeniable force that is Cody Hunter, aka Chauncey. Mate, welcome along. How you going?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. Here we go. This is episode 1 of the Deep and Meaningful Chats. It's been a bit of a work in progress, eh? I would say it's been chats now for a little while to get this thing kicked off.
Lots of chats to lead to the ultimate chat, hey? And it's quite funny, mate, because everybody we've talked to about doing this, it makes sense to them.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
so the
right.
people in our lives, this is us, this is who we are, this is what we do day in, day out. And so there was no fear attached to it for me, just excitement.
Yeah, that's right, mate. You know, and we have been meaning to do it for a long time, and it did sort of get pushed a little bit further along with the whole COVID thing and the whole everyone working from home and the whole sort of trying to flow a bit more positivity and sort of, you know, tools or tricks of the trade and things you can sort of use at those times. Again, kind of push things a bit further forward. It didn't happen at that first time, but you know, it did get some steps forward, right? We took some steps forward, gained a bit of momentum, and here we are with episode 1.
Yeah, and I guess it became a normal level of communication, right? We became comfortable with this. Before it was a little bit sticky, getting used to talking to someone. I mean, our skills are face-to-face. We're still face-to-face, but there's a little bit of a geographical challenge between the two of us, mate, but that's a small little hurdle, and we'll talk a lot about that, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I think, that undeniable hurdle of no bullshit excuses about things. Like, make it work with what you've got. And we're so lucky that we can jump onto something like Zoom and record a podcast like this, because again, booking a studio out, getting there, traffic, all these things, being in a different area of New Zealand, of course, it's just things again that get in the way. So let's just make that, you know, those obstacles disappear, open the doors, and just make it easy for us to achieve what we want to achieve, right? Which again, we'll flow into way more of that as we go.
I got you, mate. White noise. I referenced to it today because, you know, for people that don't know us, I've got a background in training people and training trainers of people. So fronting up in terms of group fit exercise and the ability to help people, which we both do, eh? And a reference today in a very hot and steamy environment at a hard workout was just about that white noise. So what we want to do is we want to create or turn that little white noise into sweet, sweet music, don't we, mate? We want to turn it into sweet, sweet music. And it's okay, everybody goes through it, and that's the thing. I think people will resonate. Some people will realize that, hey, maybe we think a different way about things. So that's the learning process. And that's the great thing about chatting to people and opening up the forum. And other people, you know, our hope is they'll think, shit, there are people out there that think just like us.
Yeah, mate.
And we welcome them aboard, eh? We welcome them aboard. And as this progresses and we get a little better at it, we'll welcome comments and suggestions, and it's going to turn into a party. It's going to turn into a party.
Mate, that's what it's all about. That engagement and getting the input from others is huge. You know, like it's, again, I'm a very sort of a flowing kind of guy. I like to have things thrown at me and then have to sort of respond. If anyone's ever seen any video I've made in the past, nothing's ever pre-recorded. Everything's live. Everything's as raw as it can be. Because as soon as I have to start reading and reporting back things like a robot, I struggle. The brain just shuts down. It needs to be. So yeah, like you say, engagement from others, feedback, comments, questions, everything is going to be the bread and butter. It's going to be great stuff. You know, and that's what we hope we can get a lot of as we move forward.
And that's how we got the D.M.C, right? The Deep and Meaningful Chat, because I don't think you'd heard that term before.
No, I haven't.
But for those people, night owls, late in the night, whichever state you're in, and you end up sitting down, and even at conference, mate, we're the same. You sit down and you start to have a conversation, and then your level of comfort increases and you start to talk about more stuff, and that leads to other stuff, and it's amazing what you can unlock. And you know, invariably our chats always lead there, bro. So you know, you're one of these people that's certainly, I mean, how long have I known you for? 2 years? Is it 2 years?
2 years. Yep. 2 years. Almost exactly.
Yeah, man. And in those 2 years, you've had such a positive impact in the way that I see things or do things. And I mean, I can chat to a couple of examples as we go through this, just in terms of your mindset and your positive attitude, which is something I love, mate. I embrace it. I love that shit. People know us for it, right?
Oh yeah,
and
that's right.
And it's hard because You know, Chansey and I are both salespeople at the end of the day, and there's always that crocodile boot, white pant, open shirt guy that's trying to sell you a car. People kind of question your methods and not your integrity, but the genuine nature of you wanting to connect. But that's just who we are.
Yeah, exactly right.
And like I say, people that know us comes to no surprise that we're in this point chatting, and there's been some super positive feedback, which is cool, man. Which is cool. So we've just gotta. This is what it's all about.
That's right. And I mean, the intention of like today's, episode 1, which we've entitled, the Show Up episode, because there's a massive amount of, again, show up is huge. It's huge in our life. Working on that, it's a really simple sort of a code. It's part of my 5 codes that I look to adhere to on a daily basis. And that first one, number 1 on the list, is to show up. You've got to be there. You've got to be there for the people around you. You've got to be there for yourself. You've got to get out of your own way. You've got to get rid of all those obstacles, like we said before, all the bullshit excuses, all the procrastinating, and you just got to, number 1, just show up. It's like people at the gym, when you say, number 1, people come into the gym for a workout with you in their class, just say, look, all I want you to focus on is the single step in front of you. Step number 1, set your alarm and wake up. Step number 2, wash your face. Step 3, don't think about getting to the gym. Don't worry about that yet. That's way down the track. Just focus on that little thing that's in front of you. Have your coffee, put your shoes on and get in the car. And by the time you've done that, you've committed. And then you show up, you're there, leave the rest up to us. We'll get you going. And then the rest is up to you. It's a beautiful, beautiful little thing.
And it's great. It's a great philosophy. The classic is, and I do talk about it all the time, 50% is showing up, making the start line. And there's a whole range of other things that switch into action once you're there. But man, if you can nail 50% and just be there, putting yourself in the right environment, and that's what you've got to think about too. Who you're spending your time with. We talk about habits, and we'll go into that a bit about our reading habits and what we're going through and the stuff that we chat about offline, turning it into online chats. But putting yourself in an environment and giving yourself the ability every chance once you make that start that you can continue that momentum. And I think what I find is not enough people give themselves credit for taking that first step and putting themselves in that position. It's easy to get into that position at a start line, whatever it is. It's whether it's in a class or a meeting or something that you've always wanted to do. And the pressure of the situation, that's when all of those negative doubts and fears start to grab you and take over. But the overwhelming positive is, mate, you're there.
Yeah,
that's the moment.
Exactly right.
And that's what the champions do. That's what they say, they convert those opportunities. And it's just a mindset. It's a champion mindset. There's no reason why, if you've never played sport in your life, you can still have a champion mentality. You can still have a champion mindset.
Yep.
It's that white noise.
It's the white noise. Yeah. That whole voice that people, and we've all had it. This is what I really enjoy, is that champions, amateurs, everyday people get the voice telling them the same thing. The old devil on the shoulder: stay home, push the snooze. You can slow down, stop running so fast, stop working so hard, take a break, have a holiday. Like, we all have it. Even the best in the world have it. It's just that the champions and the one that do well are the ones who can get, redirect that noise or ignore it, or they have strategies around to actually push towards the one on the side of the shoulder that's giving you the encouragement to get it on. So it's like we all experience the same things. It's how you have the tools to handle those things, right? So
absolutely,
do you listen to it, or do you just say shut it down? So my whole strategy was, especially mornings in the early days, was how do I become a robot? Because I know that the morning brain cannot be trusted. No one should trust their morning brain. All it does is tells you all the things that are comfortable. Stay in bed, push snooze, be warm, sleep longer, have a longer shower. All these things that just make you, want to be more comfortable, move slower, and then in turn usually make you late for your job or hate or miserable. Whereas my whole strategy was like, how can I become a robot so that all I do is open my eyes, and again, step by step, like a robot. It's like a code I follow, and it's the same every day. The alarm's in the same place, push the button, sit up. Everything is structured. So I've done it for so many years now that there's no guessing. I don't have to think about what I'm going to wear. I don't think about what's for breakfast. I don't think about anything. I'm just doing exactly what I've programmed myself to do. And it works.
Yeah. Yeah, man. And you threw it out there too. The funny thing was that, you know, as soon as we recognized the fact that we're both into fitness and different scales of fitness, right? Different things. But when we connected the Apple Watches, you know, I'd get up in the morning and Mr. Hunter was an early riser. So by the time I'd got up and was ready to go to the gym, I'd put my watch, press it, and it would say, Cody Hunter has already completed a workout. And I'm like, oh, geez, here we go, mate. Here we go. What's he done? And then you were like, hey, let's have a competition. But that was cool, you know. It frames it up a different way. So, you know, it's that positive. You can look at it. You can let that type of stuff shut you down, or you can let it act as motivation to say, mate, you know, this guy's taking a chance. He's getting up. He's doing shit. Why can't I do exactly the same? And it is. We're conditioned to do in a certain way. We're talking about those habits again. Man, it's cushy, eh? Instant gratification. How good do we feel lying in? How good does that first cup of coffee feel? Well, shit, I'll have another cup. Might just sit down, watch a bit of telly. Too easy. And this is where they start to, perpetuates, eh? Especially with lockdown, when you're at home. Lots of different distractions and things that aren't particularly good for us. So people are finding ways to do stuff. When you're out of the gym, when you're out of a positive environment, what do you do? What do you have to do? When you're self-reliant, when you don't have these people, this coach with a whistle or however they do, they don't hit people anymore at the gym, do they, with sticks? They don't do that anymore?
Nah, mate. Well, no, not so much.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, now that the sticks are out, you have to wield your own stick.
Yeah,
you have to be responsible. You have to take it in your own hands, and you have to find a way. It's that personal process.
Yeah, that's right. Takes a lot of time, a lot of energy.
Yeah, for sure. And over the last couple of weeks, we've been bantering back and forth, and it's amazing the attitudes that we see from Monday to Sunday. If you're training 7 days, if you're training 5 days, how those attitudes and those habits are formed and how they change dramatically from the people that front up for the early morning Monday training. And then you start to see that progressive mindset, the vibe changes, the energy changes as you get closer to the weekend or closer to the end of the week. And then it shuts down again. Because we are conditioned to behave in a certain way. You know, it's that grind.
Oh, mate.
And we all handle it a different way, eh? But I think we're same page 100% with that Friday mentality, those Friday feels.
Oh yeah. I mean, I had to condition myself and teach myself, because I'm human, you know. So before I started working in gyms and things years ago, like I hated a Monday as much as anyone else, but before the gym. But then I mean, it's just a change of your habit, your language, number one. And we joke about the TGIM, and those of you that are listening that know me know that I, you know, especially in the old days, I used to walk into the gym every Monday morning and scream it at the top of my lungs while we were out to coach a class. TGIM, everybody. It's just a change of, number one, your language. Like use your words to create power and energy. You know, like say the things, like, and you'll believe it. You know, so TGIM all the time. And before you know it, because again, I can't believe that you want to hate. Number one, hate a Sunday because it's the day before Monday. So Sunday's spent feeling hungover, tired, and shit. And then you come in, and then Monday's Monday-itis day. You know, again, it's the worst day on the planet. And then you've got Tuesday, which is not too far off probably. So just then, without even talking any further, you've got roughly 2 to 3 days a week of subpar behaviors, energies, vibes, everything. And you're going to, you know, how many days over a year, over a 10-year period, are you living like that? All because of what a day of the week is called, because of the way you've structured it in your mindset, that Monday is a shitty day because it's the start of my work week. Like that just, I mean, I just find that insane.
I know, mate. Well, to paint a picture, you know, those that don't have the benefit of being able to see us, to paint a perfect picture, mate. Cody looks like he sounds, you know, that gravelly, deep, muscular, handsome voice. He's got arms like legs like trees, a chin made of granite. So when a guy like him walks into a gym and says TGIM, no one's going to take you down, mate. No one's going to take it. I, on the other hand, look like something that Cody would arm curl. So if I yelled it, I don't know whether I'd get through, mate, to be honest. So I stand a healthy distance back. I'm fortunate on a Monday morning, because Monday is a regular thing for me, training early, anywhere from, you know, the time slot moved from 6 a.m. to now it's 6:45 a.m. do get a microphone and the ability to try and pump people up a little bit, but you've got to be respected that some people are in a deep, deep hole, but make it fun.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
And,
that's right. Yeah. Good point.
And that, you know, the overwhelming, that commonality is that, mate, when that alarm goes off for me too, it sounds super loud. You know, do I have my alarm at a weird time? Yeah, I do. 5:09, you know, 5:14. If it goes some days, I'm like, holy shit. But mate, white noise. I know when I get up, in my process, I try to have such a positive process, even though it's super challenging. Some days, you know, if you can't sleep like anybody else, some days you can't sleep, you have a shit sleep. A hangover comes in a variety of ways, whether it's from exercise or life in general or stress. Alcohol, fortunate that, when was the last time I'd had a few? I can't remember. I can't remember. Not that because I'm drunk all the time, but I don't drink a lot. But yeah, the hangover comes in a variety of ways, and Monday is one of those days where people do literally seem to have a hangover. They carry the weight of the world and the expectation for that week. And mate, we can't focus too far ahead, can we? It's the opportunity is that moment, you know. And as we move to the next moment, that's the next opportunity that we grasp. That's the mindset that we need to have. And I learned that lesson a long time ago, actually, through doing multi-sport, and was fortunate enough to be in a position where I trained to do an Ironman. And so that's an endurance event, for those who don't know. Triathlon, long swim, long bike, long run, and it's tough, and it's super tough. But for me, young family, busy, stressful job at that time, exercising, and you have to train super hard. You prepare 12 months out. And what assisted me getting through was I realized that I had a lot of balls, you know, and if I tried, you know, life's about juggling, right? And if I tried to focus on everything at once, you drop it. But the art to juggling is focusing on that ball in your hand. And that's what I became really good at doing. So when I was exercising, 100% focus on exercise. When I was with the kids, nothing else matters. You know, spending time with my wife, that was it. At work, shutting down, mate, because I knew that me worrying about, thinking about, okay, in 2 hours I've got to do exercise, that was only holding me back. So I was 100% focused on work at that time. And then it's again, next ball, exercise, done, bang, and back in. So if you can kind of embrace philosophies like that, or strategies to help you get through even difficult times, and then all of a sudden, 6 months, 12 months later, you're bobbing up and down in a lake with about 14 other people that want to go the same direction as you.
That's right.
You know? And then all of your life flashes before your eyes, and you realize the gravity of all of those moments and the importance of it. You know, talk about doing the mahi. That's where the confidence comes from, me. But yeah, knowing that ability to just switch on and off, and it was hard, man. We had some tough stuff that we were going through. But we were having a clean out recently, and I've got the finishing photo, my first finishing photo, and I had a horror day, man. It was hard. But the one thing that got me through was seeing the family and the friends and thinking about all the work I'd done, and I knew I could do it. There was never a doubt. Did I ever feel like stopping? Yeah, but it was one foot in front of the other, just like life, bro? You know, lots of hurdles, mate. There was some deep, anybody that's done endurance events and like you for CrossFit, mate, there's some deep, dark moments, mate, where one rep feels like 1,000, you know, where you feel like you can't even pick up or close your hands. But it's that one undeniable fact that you know you've done the work, and you've got that undeniable faith in your ability just to perform. And yeah, I've got this great photo of me carrying Justine. My wife didn't want a bar of it. She was like, out here, have the kids. So she didn't want to share that moment. So I had my oldest daughter holding my hand and my youngest daughter cradled in my arms, and there's a photo of us, and it captures that moment beautifully. Justine in the background with a pushchair, having, you know, followed me around, wondering where I was, worrying about me for 12 hours thinking, is he dead? What's happened?
Yeah.
A lot of blood on the road there that day. Yeah, but it's just that ability to overcome challenges and the mindset that it takes. You know, the strategies that we all have, or that we will learn. And I think that's one important thing for me. Like, we've done a few laps. I've done a few more laps than you. Not that you could tell, obviously, but it's just good lighting, mate.
Yeah, mate, it's magic.
And actually, in reference to that, Cody and I did a couple of tests, and we did a little bit of a run through. And the first time we got the cameras up, I was, geez, mate, what's with the lighting? Have you got filters on? You look younger, and mate, you look brighter, and you look way more handsome than I do. Then I realised he was younger and brighter and way more handsome than I am. But my strategy was to invest in good lighting, so that's what I've done.
Lighting is gold,
solid. It's made a difference, doesn't it? Yeah.
Oh, mate,
equipping yourselves with the tools.
Equipping yourself with the tools. Tools in the toolbox.
It's not a shortcut. It's not a shortcut, bro. And we can talk about shortcuts too, eh?
Or hack. It's also not a hack, mate. It's not a hack.
It's an enhancement.
That's right.
Skills, it's a strategy. It's a strategy I've implemented to enhance this podcast for you, for me, and for our watchers, our subscribers.
Exactly.
Subscribers. On that note, people should subscribe.
Mate, they're bloody better. There's YouTube, mate. There's YouTube, there's Spotify, there'll be Apple, there'll be everything you can do. And I've just realized that I've got my screen set up. So I think when I'm looking at you, I'm actually looking outside of my computer. So we'll see how that relays back on rerun. You notice that?
Wow.
Maybe that's why you do the mirror setting. Thank you. But thank you, viewers and listeners. This is a little test run. But yeah, again, if I look like I'm looking in the wrong direction, it's because I am.
Yep. And one important thing too, you're probably thinking, is Cody's hair real? Now, in the time I've known him, I've only ever seen that hairdo out of kilter once, and it's because we were swimming. Other than that, not a hair out of place, mate. Always looking sharp, and it's that pride in presentation, always showing up, mate. Always showing up. So I had to go and get a haircut, of course, because I was looking relatively scruffy. Honest feedback, I'm all about it.
Mate, I tell you what, like on that appearance one though, like I mean, I remember the early days, especially in university in Dunedin, and being a rugby player, and a lot of drinking going on and everything. You'd always look around, and you'd be able to tell by looking at someone what they did the night before. You could tell by the appearance.
Yeah.
You're in sweatpants, you all look like shit, your eyes are bloodshot, so I got to a point where it was like, look, even though you feel like shit, when you look good, you feel better straight away. Look good, feel good, do good. I don't know who coined that. I know that I remember someone, one of the UFC fighters saying that back in the day. But yeah, it's like, even if you feel like shit, just try to look your best, because in turn you'll just feel better. Like why make everything feel worse? You look at yourself in the window while you're walking with your kids, and you're like, mate, I look like utter shit right now. The least you can do for yourself, I don't do it for anyone else, it's purely for myself, that it actually makes me feel better, and I perform better, and I'll more confidence again. So especially in the mornings or when you're a bit sick, mate, I go hard. That's when I put the suit on, mate. Put on a little bow tie or something, make sure you're looking all dapper.
Mate, we might have to dress this up a little. We could be in suits next time.
We can get there,
but it's interesting. No, I mean, how people want to do that or express that, whether it's makeup or clothing, never feel bad about looking good. You go out of the house and you see a lot of scruffy people that maybe don't have the pride in their appearance, or don't take the time to invest in themselves in that way, or don't see themselves that way, or it's not saying they don't care, but it's just a mindset and mentality, right? If you want to go out, if you want to wear a full face of makeup, male or female, who gives a fuck?
Oh yeah, exactly. And
get out there, do whatever makes you feel good. If I'm not saying wear pajamas to the supermarket, what I am saying is, if you've got pride in your appearance, there's nothing wrong with it. If you want to dress yourself up, go for it. Don't measure yourself against anybody else. You do you. It's the important thing. But it's amazing. It's amazing how you feel. I mean, think about when you I think about gratification. You know, if you buy a new pair of shoes or something, you wear them and you like walking a little bit taller, or you're playing sport and you hit a good shot or do something great, your chest pumps out all of a sudden. All of those little moments that make you feel good. Try it. Change something. Not saying go and buy something new. Iron a shirt. Wear a nice pair of pants. People will go, man, you look nice.
Yeah. And the one about the shoes one, I've used it before for clients and for people who are just trying to get started again into fitness, for example. It's like, look, motivation is fleeting, right? It comes and it goes. You can't count on motivation to stay in the game here, because it can get you started, but it won't keep you going. But in terms of getting started, if you've spent your entire life and you've never started, like, how can we get you going? And just like you said, mate, it's amazing what a new pair of running shoes can do to someone. You know, you put on those new pair of running shoes, and you just got, like, no matter who I have memories from in high school getting new pairs of running shoes, my first Nikes and whatnot. All I did was run and run and run. And you're like, get a new pair of kicks, get some new training clothes, put them on, feel good, get outside, take a walk, do what you can do at your level right now. But, and I mean, again, it's fleeting, it's motivation, it's excitement, it's like feeling good. It won't be there forever, but at least it gets you started, gets that one foot in front of the next, you know, which is the hardest part, you know, getting started.
And the beauty for us now, right? We talk about showing up, and people who have never done exercise before or getting back into it, it can be super uncomfortable, you know, like showing up. And maybe sometimes they find themselves in a situation or go to a class or an experience or try something that's just not them. And it puts them off the entire experience of showing up. But what we don't, you and I know that there are so many different opportunities, so many different ways to get from A to B to C and so on. You know, so maybe it's maybe the coach that you have doesn't resonate. Maybe the people, it doesn't feel quite right for you. Maybe the exercise itself, you know, we get sucked into feeling like we need to do this high intensity stuff all the time. It's getting that balance right. If it's not for you, the main thing is, just show up. Okay. And if it's not quite right, that's okay. Give it a chance. Usually that habit forming, it takes 4 or 5 times minimum before it starts to feel, before your level of comfort changes. And that's when you start to switch it up, because even discomfort can get comfortable, right? I see it a lot. It's something that we need to play with and continuously challenge. But you know, it's that environment. And what I do try and do, and I invest in wholeheartedly, is making sure that people feel comfortable and safe in an environment where they can express themselves or excel. And it doesn't matter, you see a variety of people there for different reasons. And it's not my business to pry in and see what that is, but it's my job to help them feel comfortable enough to get there in whichever manner. And it's to give them solid advice. It's to help them with their performance, or it's to give them time just to tune out. Maybe it's stress relief. Maybe they just want to listen to some sick music. Maybe they just like the feeling of working out, which is cool, which is so cool. Maybe they've got a goal in mind, you know. Maybe they've got a target. Maybe they've got a date that they've invested in. Amazing. But again, the main thing, everybody's showing up. Everybody's showing up.
And then our job is to be like, because this is something I really rate and I work a lot on, is like making sure that, especially if you're the coach, if you're one of the leaders in the class, anyone that walks in that room needs to know who you are as fast as possible. So they need to know that you are the man that runs the class, is one of my first things. They need to get some form of contact, high five, fist pump, pre you know, COVID stuff, but you know, like, make sure they have a connection, eye contact, how you doing, the old elbow, and then make them feel so welcome. That, because I mean, again, first timers walking into a gym of any kind, especially a group fitness class, especially something that's got some equipment they've maybe never seen before, that's going to be one of the most terrifying experiences they've probably ever done. Like, that's another level. And then to walk in where the group is already all mates and everyone's having a good yarn, everyone's got the crew that's been together, they've been doing this for years, wearing the same shoes. And then you're just like, if no one takes charge to do that, you may lose them forever. They may do one class, hide in the back, and be like, what am I doing here? Like, I just don't belong where we know everyone belongs. And I just that's just one of my, as a coach, that's who I am. I initiate every introduction. I initiate myself. I never wait for anyone to come to me. I'll always come to you, because I don't want you to think that you know, the whole hum and ha, like who's going to do this? Nah, it's me.
Yeah.
This is what I do. It's not your role. Don't worry about it. And in Korea, we used to have massive groups of people show up training for this Reebok initiative we did called the Be More Human project. And you might have 100 people show up one weekend, and I'll be like, if I miss you, it's on me. Like, I'm going to do my best to make sure I touch base with every single one of you. And there'd be a series of coaches that would all do the same, and that would be the philosophy of everybody. But huge difference, and you can't have anyone in the back feeling like shit. It's just not acceptable.
Yeah, and check in. Like I, you know, if you say, "Hey, is anybody new?" Raise your hand. How many people just sit there and raise their hand?
Yeah.
But it's critical. If you think that someone's not comfortable enough to raise their hand, you can approach them and make sure they're okay. But again, it's that level of comfort. And even rock stars have bad days, right? Even rock stars have shit days where you're just not feeling it, where you didn't want to put your pants on, didn't want to put your shoes on, didn't want to get to the gym, didn't want to go for a run, didn't want to go for a walk, didn't feel it. But they turned up anyway. And the one thing I like about you, bro, is like you're all about do something, right? So you've not only got a plan B, I think your plans go right to the alphabet. So I don't think there's anything that can get in your way in terms of, you know,
fucking do something.
Yeah, fucking do something, mate. The classic was, so I'll give you a real good example about Cody and the way that he weaves his magic. And so we were talking about, he goes, "Oh, bro, do you read?" And I'm like, "Oh, mate, I struggle with reading opening books, you know." And he goes, "Mate, do you listen to podcasts? Have you heard of audiobooks?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I've heard of them." But he said, "Oh, mate, you've got to do it." And I go, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, I just don't, you know, in terms of timing, I find it very, very hard." He goes, "Oh, mate, when I'm out on the road, you know, I put it on. If I'm going for a walk, I put on a podcast or an audiobook." And I'm going, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "You bastard. Okay. There's all my little objections, my little white noise." It's like, he's vaporizing it just in this little conversation. He's working his way in. And he goes, "Oh," he said, "Oh, mate, I've got a book you should read." I said, "Okay, cool." He goes, "Mate, have you heard of a guy called Goggins?" And I'm like, "No, mate." And he goes, "I'll send you something, but there's a book maybe you should read." I'm like, "Okay, mate, I'll do that." And I looked this guy up on YouTube. Insane. He's definitely a 1%er, mate. But the book was called Can't Hurt Me. And, you know, it's one of these things where by you working through my objections with me and my white noise, suddenly I found myself halfway through this book enthralled and wanting to read more, which has led to the second book and so on. And you're always like, I always get a link. He's like, "Okay, what are you reading at the moment?" I'm like, "What are you reading at the moment?" Okay. And I'm going, "Oh, mate, no, I haven't. I just finished the last one." He goes, "Okay, I'll send you this." Ooh, next one. So I've got that lined up.
Oh, mate.
And there's a variety of ways we can do it. And incidentally, I've just found out, my daughter told me that through the library, you know, if you're not big on these apps, and you don't feel like signing your life away, through your local libraries, generally they have an archive of audiobooks as well. So you can have access through your local library to audiobooks.
Oh man, it's mint. I didn't even know that.
Who knew?
That's awesome.
Yeah, who knew? So if you're a member of the library, I mean, it's not going to cost you anything. You just take proof that you're in the region. And there may be a book or an audiobook that's out at the time. You put yourself on a waiting list, and bingo. And if you're not planning on reading a certain book or picking up a certain book, grab another one, pick it up, read it.
Mate, I think it's for me, it's you know, I started doing these things before I left the house in the morning. I'd always have these, you know, 5 things that I had to take care of every morning. And one of them was development. It would be called feeding the brain. Like, what are you going to do every morning before you go to work, whatever time of the day it was, which back then for me was a 5:30 coaching class. So how do I fit in journaling, meditation, stretching, mobility? How do I fit in my audiobook or my study? So I had to find ways to fit all that in before I even left the house. And that's why the book one, the development, I think we should always be learning and consuming something, right? So I've always got something on the run. I've got a list up here of the books that I'm reading this year, and I'm 5 in. I'm on my 6th one now so far, because I'm just hammering through them on Audible, which is the way I like to do it. Because again, it's like a habit stacking, which we can talk way more. We'll get into habit stacks, we'll get into stacks of habit stuff. But when I listen to audibles, I'm way more productive. Number one, I'll do all the laundry, I'll wash the dishes happily, I'll clean the house, because you put it in and you go. Gardening's done. I love going for big walks and listening to it. So you find ways to do more of it because you really enjoy it. And again, I hate doing laundry. I hate folding laundry. It's like the worst. If you've got young kids, it's the worst thing you've ever done. And I know the parents that are watching with young kids or that had young kids will remember folding little pairs of underwear, like 50,000 pairs of these things, is annoying. But when you're in something, in a book that you really enjoy, you just fade into another world and you're just in it. I mean, I just consume so much like that. I just love it. So I think, yeah, daily reads, 30 minutes minimum.
Power to you. I think that's awesome, eh? And you know, I love a good walk too, and I've been doing a lot more of it, especially through COVID, and I've got the chance to take any of the family with me. But the benefit I find is, you know, sometimes you can do stuff that gets you out of your head, but it's also great to do stuff that gets you in your head, where you kind of got that time alone, where you've got thinking time to process. And it's also a good time to read, you know, to put on those podcasts, audio books. You can absorb that information. Yeah, I love it. As much as I'm addicted to high intensity, balancing out with as much as I love the endurance side of getting out and riding. I did discover that the appealing thing for me about riding, was just the camaraderie and being able to talk and connect. So cycling became the new golf. You know, you could go out and you could talk shit, which men are the masters of, by the way.
Oh, yes.
You could go out and you could talk shit for hours. Doesn't have to be about anything in particular. You know, the classic when your wife asks you, what are you thinking about? And you say, nothing. Men have the ability to think about nothing. We can just sit and cruise, and something pops up, we'll talk about it, a random act, a random fact.
Yeah.
It's not like this continuous mill of thoughts and processes and fears and doubts. So sometimes it's just, you know, that beautiful space that only a man will know and appreciate, where you just gaze and think of nothing.
It's bliss.
Let's all go there for a second.
Yeah,
it's an end. It's not a deep, dark space. It's just silence. It's almost meditative. So if people say to you, do you meditate? And you're a male, you can say, well, yes, I do. I often just stare into space and think about nothing.
I think, do you remember those times though where this is where you go through that transition, of being like young and worrying about what everyone's doing and having FOMO and, you know, all that kind of energy where you're like, oh my God, where you can't be alone because you're afraid to be alone. And then all of a sudden something clicks and you're like, holy shit, I love being alone. Like, this is being in your own head is, you know, you find more times to do it because you get better at it. You practice it more and you want to go there more often. And that's exactly what it is. And that's, you know, that's what Paul Check. Do you remember Paul Check?
Yeah,
mate, he's a legend. And this guy, I mean, one of his podcasts, he was talking about working in versus working out. You know, everyone's so quick to work out and expel energy and get intense and get sweat and everything going. But we don't often work in. We don't often do any working in, right? And so you find your way that you enjoy it the most. And for me, it is, I love the active meditation of going for a walk, and whether it is consuming in something or just being in your own thoughts. Again, it's the processing in your mind and being, and, you know, visiting it, calming it, because that thing is, there's too much going on in there, right? Traditionally, your brain is all over the place. So let's just shut it down and have
I think that should resonate with hopefully we've got some younger viewers and listeners. Get to know yourself, you know, get comfortable in your own skin and appreciate how fucking incredible and amazing you are. Because what I see is people get stuck in the comparison and you know, we're looking on the gram and we're seeing picture perfect human beings. We're seeing incredible acts of fitness, dexterity, musicality, anything that's out there. And you get stuck in the comparison game. And what they forget, you know, too quickly is, like, there's maybe something that you can do and you're listening right now that you are unbelievable at. That's your wheelhouse. That's your skill set. that nobody else can do. But you've forgotten about that because you're too focused on that comparison. I just think comparison's a fool's game. And yeah, I mean, it's natural to get stuck. It's natural to get stuck in comparing yourself to others, and it's tough. It's tough not to do it.
That's right.
And from and as we get further down the road, I mean, you know, to the older listeners, or more mature, should I say, more mature listeners, the ability to let some of that to let some of that go. And I think that insecurity about growing older. And I listened to a guy, he was a big wave surfer, absolute legend, nutter. And one of his biggest goals was actually growing old. It's something he wanted to do. And I love that, you know, and that kind of resonated with me. Out of all the crazy things that this guy was up to, out of all the insane things that he was doing, his biggest goal was just the ability to grow old. He didn't want to live fast, die young. He wanted to be, you know, sitting on the beach somewhere, grey hair, with, you know, a mind full of memories, didn't need a pocket full of change, just wanted to soak in life's experiences and move gracefully to the finish line, because we all get there, don't we?
Yeah, that's right.
That's one of those inevitable things. So why not pack your life with as many positive experiences as you can, and why not back yourself? Because it's now, hey, this is about the moment. The moment's now, worrying about what's happening in 5-10 years. While for some people it might be critical mass. Certainly you've got to have some sort of consideration, but it's that one step at a time. Oops, sorry, mate. And we're back.
Mate, I love that though. And that's, I used to get some good questions about the whole, especially in fitness and health. I do some lunch and learns and things like that. There's always be the one guy in the room, the 50-year-old business guy who loves his drinks, loves his cigarettes, doesn't care. And you'd always give you the question, okay, Cody, I understand what you're saying. If we do all these sort of things, we can live healthier, happier, maybe longer lives, who knows? But he's like, what do you say to someone like me who says, look, I'm happy to invest time into smoking, drinking, and partying now, and I'm happy to maybe shorten my life, 10, 15 years. I'm cool with that, because I'm going to do this. I want to live hard now, like you said, live strong, and die a bit earlier. He goes, what do you say to people like that? And well, my whole point is like, well, the only people who are saying that is because right now you have your health and you have your wellness and you have your youth. It's the day that you're told you no longer have it and things start falling to pieces where you regret it and you wish, I could have done better to be healthier at this stage. It's that whole, you don't know what you've got till it's gone, right? Of course you don't think about it now because you're healthy. You feel good, you feel healthy. But then, when the time comes, and maybe you are saying goodbye to family and friends and loved ones way earlier than you expected. Maybe you don't even get a chance to say goodbyes, but then that's when you don't want it to be too late. You don't want to, you can't catch up then. It's too late. You can invest a little bit of time and energy now, and we can do some work now. Easy, not too much, but it'll make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, it's significant. If you've experienced loss in your life, loss of loved ones, it's significant. It's significant. It's a massive step in anybody's life, because it's as much as the birth of your first child, mate, polarizing and amazing, and you learn so much about the meaning of true love, what it is to be solely invested in this thing that you don't even know, that you can't even explain all of a sudden, that you made. As much as when you get to the other side of it and you see someone you care about slip away, that changes shit dramatically. You'll see someone fighting for life, you realize how important life is and how precious it is, because we don't know, mate. None of us know. It's not gonna, you're not gonna have a conversation and say, okay, what's it like on the other side? It's not, and I loved how someone framed it up recently. It's not the end, it's the beginning of something new. We don't know what's on the other side. But our jobs are to maximize the time we have available. And I guess for us, in our lives, we've been ups and downs, mate. We've made shit decisions in our lives. We've had super hard days. We've had great days. We're blessed to have, mate, rock solid friends. amazing partners, wives, super kids, but there are days when it's super hard. Hey, there are days when it does get super challenging. But we have enough faith to be able to work through it and work it out.
Yeah, that's right.
Are we optimists, mate? Are you an optimist? Do you class yourself as an optimist?
Yeah. I think I'd be probably classed in the past, maybe not so much now, as a delusional optimist, or like an over-the-top optimist. Where I've used this example before with different things, where I'd be the guy sitting there saying, "Yeah, shit's amazing," but everything behind me is in flames. And I'm just like, "Yeah, man, life's great, everything's awesome, like everything's so good," and literally the world around me is on fire. So so it's good to balance out with my wife, for example, who's a lot more of a realist. She's a lot more, sort of says things as they are. So it's nice to be able to balance it up, so that my craziness doesn't get too carried away in the dream world, which is it's not so much. I've learned to be a bit smarter about how that all works. But in the past, mate, yeah, it'd be definitely like a massive optimist.
Yeah, and I think, again, the people that know us probably see me as an optimist as well. I carry a high level of optimism and enthusiasm into most situations, and just be worried if I go quiet. That's that's when there's an issue. But
same here.
Optimism in the right hands, you've got to be careful with it and share as much of it. And I'd like to share, if you're around others that don't possess it, you can present it in a different way that lifts them up. Because the optimist feels the weight but wants to lift it up, and the pessimist kind of feels the weight and literally feels it dragging them down. So you're gonna, I think, even for optimists, right, we have a level of pessimism where we go, yeah, everything's so fucking good, and it's like, oh, hang on a second. Optimism counter goes pessimism, then we're like, optimism, yep, override. We're like, yeah, we're back. Let's go, flames. Yeah, that analogy's awesome.
Mate, it's good. It's good. I'm not walking away from the flames because I've just dropped up an explosion. It's more like I'm actually standing in it. My t-shirt's on fire.
Loving it. It's great.
Hey, everybody.
And that's funny about the level of enthusiasm. What I love, especially about the fitness industry, as young people come in. I've been at it for a long, long time. And for me, the opportunity that the young people coming in, just the mindset and the way that they address challenges is super cool. Whereas we, through experience, we look at and we've got one more rep or something, like one more, it's like that grind. And these young people are like, oh, one more, unknown territory, they're like, really, let's take on the world. There's always one person at the back going, fuck off.
Exactly, yeah. Shut up.
But it's that high level of enthusiasm and optimism generally, in especially in fitness, in situations. And I'm talking about, you're looking at your instructors are a certain breed anyway. They're pretty intense individuals at the best of times. And yeah, so it can be high energy, high octane, definitely high on the optimism majority of the time once they strap a microphone on. So learning a lot from the younger people in a variety. I'm instructing or teaching with people that are younger than my kids now, which is incredible. And these people amaze me, the resilience and what they have to put up with. But again, trying to help them navigate through my experiences and not let that grind get on top of them. Not let that comparison get on top of them. Not let that perception of who they are or where the value lies, because it's easy to switch over. Your proposition about where does your value lie, how other people perceive you. And it's what we were talking about, own your own, know your own self, know your own skin, be comfortable in it. So I see a lot of that type of stuff. So high on the optimism, and ultimately that's what gets me to that show up. They say that optimists Optimists are always late for some reason, they said. I don't know.
Is that right?
I kind of heard.
No.
I kind of heard that. I kind of heard that. Now,
Yeah.
people may be listening to this and say, Adam, well, they're right, because you never start a class on time, but I'm always there. What gets me is the chat.
Oh yeah, mate. So
The motivational chat. I got to time the motivational chats plus checking in, making sure everybody is ready to go.
Yeah.
So are optimists late?
Not me. I'm an early guy. I'm early, or I'm never on time. I'm always early. And then when it comes to a class, over the years I've changed. When I was an earlier coach, I would sit there and be kind of like, oh, I better wait for the guys to arrive, and I know some are coming. I better hold on. And now my philosophy is this: I reward those that are present, not those that are late. The ones that are late, they can catch up. I'm not going to give them any. They can, but I used to wait for those, so I'm like, it always did my head, and it's like, why are we giving the ones that are on time and doing, ready to do the work? Why are we sacrificing their time with us because we're waiting for the ones who are late, and then we're rewarding the ones that are late who continue to be late? So I was like, nah, 7 o'clock on the dot, for example, we're go time. If you're late, you can catch up. I'm never going to kick anyone out of my class, because that's not my vibe. If you're here, I'm training you. We're doing this. I don't care. I'm never angry at anyone for being late. I don't take things personally. It's nothing to do with me. Life gets in the way, traffic, kids, sleep, alarms. Who cares? You're here. That's all I care about. But I just make sure that, when the time clicks over, I not very often you'll see it at 1 minute past before I've hauled the class together. Not very often. It will happen, but not very often.
And if you are late, just take ownership for it, mate. Be accountable and still make the effort to join in and catch up. And if you want to do a cheeky 10 press ups to gratify the coach or yourself, or to make up for anything. But again, sometimes shit gets in the way. Sometimes traffic is a dog. Yeah. And we will experience that traffic rage where somehow we're blaming the person directly in front of us for all of the traffic infringements that have happened 2 hours before slowing down traffic. But again, it's white noise, mate. It gets in. It can be, man, it can be super detrimental.
Oh, big time.
Woosah.
And you've got to remember that whole assumption thing, like make no assumptions. And that's the book I'm reading, and I've got you lined up for it, mate. It's the 4 Agreements, and it's a huge one.
I've got that. No, that's my next spot. That's my next spot.
I've listened to it like 3 times. I find it's just I highly recommend it to anybody. But the the third agreement is make no assumptions, and it's like those. When someone turns up to a class, don't assume you know why they're late, because it's the day that you make a judgment about them being late is the day that you don't want to know why they're late. There's something that's really important's happened, or something that's really bad has happened, or you have no idea. And number one, and then again, the second one is take nothing personally. That's actually agreement number 2. So they're not late because of you, mate. It's got nothing to do with you. So don't assume they are. It all flows together. And I used to get really good at. I used to be bad at it. You'd see someone on the street, or you'd see someone across the road, and you'd wave, and they might like snob you, or they might give you like some weird kind of vibe, and you're like, oh shit, what have I done? So straight away, took it personally. Number 2, I'm making the assumption that I've done something wrong, and now they're going to punish me for it. So you start tricking through. What did I do? What did I do? What did I do? What did I do? Where in actual fact, mate, they're just getting through their life, man. It's like, don't get over yourself. Number 1, it's extremely likely it's got nothing at all to do with you. Just show you there, show some love, give support. They'll come to you when they're ready, but don't just pry on their life, and but that's still a tough one to do within the house with relationships, though. You still always think you've done something wrong and you want to fix it. That's a masculine energy.
It's a lot. A friend of mine posted recently, we've got a page for all of our old college mates. It was quite funny. And started with my wife said, haven't you been listening to me? And he said, I thought that was a strange way to start the conversation.
I shouldn't laugh, but yeah.
Shame on you, Cody Hunter. Shame on you.
Go on, mate.
Maybe he was in that space where you're talking about nothing, or thinking about nothing. That deep dark cave that we go and it's meditative.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. There's something going on.
But you're right, man. There's a lot happening in life, hey.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty intense. It's pretty full on. Always mindful, especially now, of the situation that people find themselves in, because not everybody's great at dealing with whether it's the solitude or being locked indoors. Our mates in Auckland at the moment are literally shut in their houses. You know, they can get out a little bit to do a couple of things, but for majority, there are people that are making sacrifices so we can go out. And, you know, this morning I still went to the gym, applying the rules, logging in, washing hands, social distancing, all of those types of things that are important to maintain this way of life. But this is going to be us for a while, so we need to adapt, eh?
Yeah, that's right.
So I think for us, we'll continue to talk about it and develop. As we develop tools, we'll certainly be making an effort to share them. And mate, what I would love to do too is obviously we'll have a decent chat about the wide and wonderful, mysterious world that is the female, and the differences to us. Not so complex, simple creatures that are males, and we can go through that. And remember, this is us chatting. This is our thoughts. This is stuff we stumble across through the process of deep and meaningful chats. It's not set in stone. Everybody has their own way of working stuff out, their own way of processing stuff. A lot of our beliefs, the way we think about things, are predetermined because they're pushed into us from an early age. And that's also, you know, I see that a lot. Some of the weight we carry is not ours to carry, so we need to let it go. When you walk into a situation and you think, I can't do it, well, why can't you? Was it when you were 9 years old that a coach said, mate, you're useless, and from that moment, that's all you hear? You know, I'll tell you a bloody good example, actually, harking back to my little triathlon days. My mum had a fear of water. My mother had a fear of water, and it's because her auntie told her that I think because her eyebrows joined, or so it was something weird, that she would drown one day. So my mother, mate, my mother has not got a massive monobrow, so don't worry about that. But it's through our heritage, our ethnicity. That was one of the beliefs. So she never went near water, but she made the opportunity available for us to go near water. So we were kids in paddling pools, and then we took the steps in terms of learning to swim. And I wasn't too keen on water because I guess it was the vibe that mum was always nervous around it. We went to a swimming lesson, and I wouldn't put my head under, and the guy grabbed my head and pushed me straight under, and I jumped out, and that was me. That was it. And I attributed a lot of fear to that process and that experience. So when I met my lovely wife, she was into fitness and I was pushing weights, and I think we talked about it, I was about 93 kgs, which is significantly heavier than I am today. Certainly had to wear different size trousers and t-shirt. Wasn't massive, but certainly carried more weight. And she was into running, ran a lot, still runs a lot. And she said, do you want to go for a run? We went for a run. I managed to hang on to her for more than 10K, so that was doing all right. Just that grit and determination and survivor mentality. And the rest is history. But she decided that she wanted to do a triathlon. She said, can you swim? I'm like, yeah. Did I back myself to swim? Yep. And so we got down the pool, and I like, oh fuck, here we go. Jumped in the water, and she goes, okay, let's go. And literally, mate, if I could doggy paddle a length, I was doing okay. She goes, what's wrong with you? I said, about that swimming thing, I'm not really a great swimmer, and here's the story. So to be able to convert that fear from a really piss poor experience and an absolute wanker of a person who didn't take the time to kind of help me through, you know, that moment as a kid when I was fearful. I carried that for a long time, and there's still a little bit of me that's nervous around water, but I overcame it. And to be able to swim in a format with, you know, 1,400 other people, 3.8 kilometers, which is 156 lengths of a swimming pool, I think is significant. 154 lengths. It's a lot.
It's a lot, mate.
It's a long way. But again, it's turning up. It's facing that fear, you know. It's being able to just jump in the pool and of course you be mindful of it. It'll either drive you to be successful or it'll drag you down. And I can swim. I'm not a great swimmer. I'm still like the car keys, you know, I kind of drag along. My aspiration is I always look at swimmers. In fact, I saw the ocean swim. We were down around the bays the other day, and these people that looked like they were, you know, this is poetry in motion. When you see athletes that are good at something, and that in my mind is what I look like in the water. Reality is probably if I started swimming, someone would dive in to try and save me. I mean, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not beautiful, but I get through, right? But again, it's that one moment that I carried for a long, long time. And I just had to, at the end of the day, just had to let it go.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I was with someone who was comfortable and confident in the water that said, okay, here, let me help you. And they understood that I had a fear attached to it. And it's pretty tough, you know. I think the thing that kept me going for swimming is you know, you've got to keep moving because there's that fear that I'll drown otherwise. But learning to swim, I think, is critical. If you are going to teach, if you have children, if you're going to have children, you're going to teach them to swim. Take them to someone who you trust. There's some amazing instructors now that are way better than when I was back in the day, that commando mentality. So take them to the swim schools or take them to the pool, give them access to water, get them comfortable, get them confident, but give them the knowledge, you know, to be able to survive. Never turn your back on the sea.
Never, mate, never. But it's a good one. I mean, it links up really well to language, eh? So I think, like, you know, as you say, these things that impact from an early day of a coach or someone, or telling, like, using their words to talk you down, and you believe what they say. You know, they then you start saying it yourself. Well, I'm a shit swimmer. It's like, have you even tried to swim? Well, no, I'm afraid of the water, so I don't really swim. So it just flows on and flows on and flows on. Then you become known as the shit swimmer guy, where it's like, mate, like, you just haven't given yourself a chance. So you're believing someone else's words, or which has just stopped you from progressing, eh? So another huge link to the 4 agreements, because agreement number 1 is be impeccable with your word. Oh, mate, you're gonna love that book.
Oh,
mate.
I like that.
It's a good one, eh? But it's fully related to that.
I mean, I've got 3 of the points here. Does that mean that I still have to go through and read it, or
Mate, I've pretty much taught it to you now, eh?
Shortcuts, mate.
Take shortcut now. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Make no assumptions, and do your best in every situation. Bam.
Yeah, and I think the admission that it's okay to be shit at stuff. You know, it's okay. It's okay to be bad. Don't expect to front up. And you look at the shining examples, mate. Do you think that guys like Michael Jordan just went and, you know, shot a couple of hoops and then rolled into his day, mate, sat around, and then game day and he was all good? And Tiger Woods, how many golf balls do you think that guy hit? I mean, variably up and down story for that guy, and I think he had a bad car accident, so fingers crossed and blessings to him and his family for sure. But you know, those guys went through a process where that determination to get better, and they sucked.
That's right.
Well, you know, a long time ago, but we don't see that. We don't see the reps, eh? No, we don't see the reps. We see the end result, and then again, that's comparison. Why are you comparing yourself to this person that's done the work, that's done the mahi, the guy that's the shredded athlete, or the lady that's got the, you know, beautiful curves that you desire or you want, or it's your aspiration to get to that point? Look down, appreciate what you have, how amazing it is. We'll go back to that again. And if you want to amplify it and even enhance, you know, change is a big word that I hear a lot. I'm not a fan of change. You know, I don't. My philosophy is around, and people will know this, that I don't feel that we really have to change, but we can get better. You know, we can get better. We can improve the things, the tools that we've been given, that we've been gifted. We can lose a lot of the shit that's been handed down to us if we can sit and do those things, like go for a walk and process some of it. Because you think about, make a list, pros and cons. What's in my way? What's the white noise? You know, what am I afraid of? What am I carrying that I can get rid of? What can I eject? When the pressure gets on, when I'm in those situations, and what are the negative voices telling me? Because we all have them, right?
Yeah.
We just learn to just...
Be aware. Awareness is key, mate. Be aware. Just be aware of what's happening there.
Yeah, and again, we've got the benefit of time, right? We've been on the planet for a while. And saying that there's some very mature younger people, which I love also. And it's a different kind of level, or different level of motivation. Not saying that young people don't go through hard times, because some do, man. There's some terrible stories out there. I mean, I've been fortunate. I've had a great life, but again, made some shit decisions. Has it been all plain sailing? No. Am I at a point in my life where things have worked out? Yep, thankfully. Why? Because I've got a lot of help from a lot of fucking amazing people. Like you, mate. You know, the last couple of years, having you has just been that step up, and that's what sort of brings us here. Who would have thought, like a couple of years ago, mate, that we'd be here just having an open chat, talking to, opening it up to the world, putting it on the worldwide
on the web, mate. Oh
yeah. And like I say, there's no fear attached to it, mate. It's quite exciting.
Exactly right. Put it out there, mate.
Yeah, and this is day one for us. There's going to be a whole lot of other stuff that we'll try and open up. I don't think it's like a can of worms. I think that there'll be some stuff that we'll expand on, and that's the deep and meaningful chat. You start somewhere, and who knows where it goes. But for us, our mindset, it's all good, man. It's all positive. It's all positive. Will we talk about some super hard stuff in time? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, for sure.
And if there's stuff that the listeners or watchers want to talk about, or comments, go for it. Rate Cody's here out of 10. I mean, I go 12 out of 10. 12 out of 10.
It's held in there all right, mate. I've done all right.
You have, mate. I'm going to throw it out there, but I think there could be a hair product sponsor not too far away for you, mate.
Yeah, we'll work on that, mate. I mean, there's a fairly hefty scar in there, which we can get to another day, but there's some good amount of scarring that goes around there.
Yeah, I think that commonality that we've actually, I've got a little one. So my skull fracture wasn't as impressive as yours, my friend.
Mine wasn't that bad, mate. Just the scar's big. The injury itself wasn't so bad.
Oh, okay. Talk it down, mate. Hey.
We'll get into that another time, mate. Scars and telling stories, mate. It's a good one.
Scars and telling stories. What, the emotional stories, mate? We've actually got a couple of very good examples of some friends of ours, some very good friends of ours that have had some horror stories and got some super harrowing tales about accidents, and I think that also changes your mindset, mate, when you have a close call like that.
Mate. Yeah.
You get to appreciate stuff on a whole new level.
Yeah, I've got a couple of dark ones that we can get into that are pretty good, but I reckon we save that for another story, for another episode.
That's why we've got our bright background, haven't we? Our bright white.
We'll put the dark one on later.
Introduction. We don't want to go too dark. That's why I changed the lighting too, because I kind of had basement lighting, didn't I?
Mate, it looked good. It did look good.
And also the pressure to look like our emojis. That was a big thing.
Wow, we're doing all right, mate. We're doing all right.
Yeah. Good lighting, filters.
Mate, so I reckon that's a wrap for episode 1. What do you reckon? Show up
mate.
Episode.
Yeah.
I reckon we cleaned it out. So I think if those of you that are watching and listening, like Adam said, please shoot us some comments, feedback. We will get this loaded up onto like all streaming services. Spotify will be there for sure and whatnot. So we'll share it around, but please have a listen. And if you've made it this far, you are a legend and you deserve fist pumps.
Yeah, fist pumps for sure. Like it, subscribe it. If you know us and want to come and have a chat about it, do that. Share it with your friends. If there's people that you think could do with a decent chat and want to talk to a couple of good bastards or listen to us talk, would welcome it. And just want to thank you and thank Cody, mate, for actually, making shit happen.
Mate, it was a team effort, mate. Team effort, mate.
Yeah, you're a humble man, but that's what it's about, mate. You gotta if you're gonna talk the talk, you gotta walk the walk and show up, back yourself. Just fucking back yourself. That's what I say.
You gotta show up for yourself before you can show up for anyone else, mate. So here we are.
100%, my friend. 100%. We got you.
We got you, mate. All right, team. Yeah. Well done. Love to see you. Take care.
D.M.C, Deep and Meaningful Chat podcast. Adam Rigby signing out. Love to you all.
Peace.
Peace.